All right, so today we got a fun little project here. We're joined by Lumberjake, and we're putting together an SV Racing Parts stand. So the cool thing about this stand is it allows you to get both wheels off the ground. So if you wanted to do any, wheel and tire work with just one of you, you can change out the tire without actually having to have more than one person. You can use a independent front stand, but in my case, I thought it was about the same price for one of the, say Pitbull stands that lifts the front. And so I figured I'd give it a shot. That way, I've kind of got one and done and, going from there. I ended up getting this off of eBay, I believe. And Blair from SV Racing Parts was super helpful, gave me all kinds of information and kind of over an abundance of information on how to get this set up. Um, it was kind of a hodgepodge of different people putting stuff together, but in the end, it's actually pretty easy. It consists of four legs. One is like a really short one that sits right by the vertical post, and it's got two locking ones and then two little fingers that go in underneath the bike. And so you put two pins into existing sockets on the bike. You don't have to take any bolts out. These two pins go right into the frame, and it's got a pneumatic arm that you just pull it down, lifts the bike right on up, and it's got a nice little feature that when you take it off and unpin the little safety catch, it'll slowly lower itself back down to the ground. So you can actually do this holding the bike up, navigating the arm, putting it in, adjusting it, doing all that kind of stuff without having to have any assistance by anybody else, without dropping the bike. So two hands, you can get it in there, get the bike up, and go without any issues.
So, like how it came in a box with a bunch of miscellaneous crap. And so I got this thing from, I think it's SV Racing. It's a Bursig stand. Or at least a version of it.
Like lay them out and inventory what comes in the box.
Well, I mean, really all it is, I believe, is legs. Just there's, I think, 4 legs on it, and it goes and connects like right here, and just lifts the whole bike up. I wanted to, if it was warm, actually get it out, get the suspension warm so that I could set preload everything effectively. But I can't do that because it's cold. You need too much of a gene to go ride it.
Hopefully you guys appreciate all the little back and forth banter. This is how we do projects, and it makes it pretty fun.
And you got some stickers for there.
Lucky. Not putting that shit on there. Got a little plug on. Meow.
Hack it over.
It's kind of an important piece, right? Amazing instructions right there.
4 feet.
The side ones, I believe, are the locking legs. There's going to be 2 inners that are not. Pin position. A Jaeger adapter plate. Weird Eye. $11.99 Panigale. Shut up a little bit. You get.
You don't have one.
Nah, it's the same. Yeah. Hoka Winkle Boltzmann stand. Gwinkets the stand stage and adapter plates. Yeah. Brats and Galkonishofen.
Radio go.
Dude, we need some radio gone. I miss it.
You can't even figure out how to share your Plex with me anymore. I got no.
Oh, I can share it.
Radio gone.
I can share Plex. I just don't have the bandwidth.
He's at home.
It's just crappy internet in Denver. If we had fiber, it'd be all about it. Takes probably a 6mm tray.
I need one of these size. Half inch. Converted to German metric.
Half inch converted to German metric. Check. There you go. I think that's a 12er. No, it's got to be like a 14. What do you think of 14? I guess. Oh, sad chicken. It's a 13. Missed it by that much. Did you kick my dog? Loosen nut A of the upper engine mount. That seemed like it'd be very beneficial if this wasn't a fucking Honda. You have to take off, takes the sheet off.
Is the sheet, is that a technical term?
Yeah. And just
Oh, I just like this.
put the dick in the thing like a glove. So we gotta undress her.
Taking the clothes
So
off.
I put on the battery tender thing, you know, like the little dongle. That was like a 3-hour affair because the battery's right here, and I got everything great except for I went to go put the back one on, dropped that one little nut, and it somehow got lost in the quagmire of the whole engine. So I disassembled like the whole bike and everything, and got it, you know, finally found it after rocking the bike back and forth all over the place. Craig won't be hanging out. Ain't nobody need to see that.
Crack kills, yo. Especially yours.
So pretty much by this point I'm an expert at taking the plastics off, because once I got that done, I went to go put the cover back on the battery and drop that bolt down here. So I had to take it all off again.
I found something funny for the video.
What?
There is a torque limit on these.
Are you kidding me?
I already found one. You can't tighten these very tight. Literally, I was just
Did you
like
strip it?
this. It's no, it's holding, but
Well, do you want to, I've got Loctite. Do you want to take it off and pop that on there?
it is.
So we have found that the quality of threads is shit.
Snug it.
Your version of snug. Most people are working on inch pounds. You're working on foot pounds.
So they just let go, like, no. Is this the permanent, or is this the...
That's medium. I don't know in what world you would ever use permanent. That shit's no joke. Ow. There appears to be some lumbar support.
Cracks me up, man.
What?
First fucking one. Nailed it!
Why do you think I'm taking off the plastics? When you're working on that shit.
Fuck those plastics.
Ta-da. Take L adapter bracket and put the dick in the hole. There she be. That's the level that she needs to go.
How's it the fingers?
Little dot of L bluey Loctite in here.
This thing's a size 97 1/4.
Okay. Like a 19er.
Sure.
Oh, what's up, boys?
What's going on?
Nothing. Just seeing what's happening in the old garage.
Try that.
Nope, too far.
Might have to pop
Put a
out the
little
bigger
stand
one.
together.
Putting a little what?
Stand.
For the bike?
What size is that?
That'll work, but you got one with just the this one.
What is it?
A 1-inch Taiwan.
A 1-inch Taiwan. It's custom.
You have a 15-16 Taiwan?
Here you go.
Exactly what I did.
This is a 15-16 Taiwan right here.
Booyah! Oh, that's like money.
All right, now
How's the nose, dude?
I can breathe. What did I do with my thing? I had the bracket.
Sorry, we got all
Give me the
day.
bracket.
It's cool. No, you took it back over there on the bench.
Son of a bitch.
You can put it.
It was in my way. I couldn't see.
Which way's up?
I blacked out.
Little one up?
Yeah, little one's up. Dude, this stuff is a lifesaver. This little one-shot dry lube case cleaner. Yeah, I use this stuff for everything. Like when I don't want squeaks and stuff, but I don't want the wet of
The greasiness.
of WD-40. I just use that, and it's
So it's a little tight because the nut from the top end of this sticks through. So it'll fit, but all that stuff's in one little spot.
Well, all of that stuff's gonna get adjusted, that little arm and everything. And so this little pin is the locking mechanism here, right?
So what is that for? Does that take the bike up off the ground?
Yeah.
Huh.
Completely.
So I
Completely,
think I'm
yeah.
supposed to put it together with this thing just up. It goes to the bar, so it holds the angle of the dangle in relation to the heat of the meat.
Oh.
1436 Muscle Toucher.
From Taiwan, please.
Yep, try this one. So what we're looking at here is this guy right here. There's a bar that goes back with a pin that comes through, and so this little guy comes up on this top corner to hold the angle. So this is what we're going to actually use to set the rotation of the pins and hold it there.
It's supposed to be straight up and down when it's in the...
It needs to be almost straight up and down, because if you're looking right here, you see this angle right here? That forward tilt is all it is, and so if you have it too far one way or the other, it's going to lean the bike, which you don't want. And so it needs to be almost vertical.
So for the video,
Yeah.
do this adjustment before you put it all together.
Or you can Chinese hand it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then I believe from the stuff that I've seen, you end up having this kind of about halfway, but since this is kind of just vertical up and down, you have it about halfway, engage it, and then go.
Lost your strawer.
Yes, I do this literally every single time I get this can out. Really, the process is lean it up, kickstand up, stick the dick in the hole. Bueno.
So
Yeah, and just- I'm pretty much there, but I think it's a little bit long. You know, once you get it, I guess, it's easy to go.
Give it a whirl.
So you just yoink, bring her down, skadoosh. There she be. Now, you see,
Barely. But
yeah, so the front wheel is off the ground, which it's one of those things. It's not normally ever perfectly balanced. You can tweak it, and that's what you do with this little guy right here to adjust the angle. But when you do that, it makes it harder to get up off the ground.
It's up. That's all you need.
And so I didn't want to cut my plastics in order to be able to do this without taking the plastics off. I might end up doing it, but really what happens is right here on the back side, it kind of takes like a little half moon circle out, and you do that with a Dremel. And I mean, honestly, it doesn't look bad. It kind of looks clean because it follows the circle of the, the part in the bike, but I just didn't like it. But now you can roll her around if she's not locked down.
So on the review side of the house here, the stand is actually pretty good. Build quality wise, it actually is, decent quality steel. We did end up stripping one of the bolts, and that may have been, I guess we didn't strip it. It's the socket that it's supposed to go in. Maybe it was just a little overboard. But, put a little Loctite on it. We haven't had any issues. There's multiple bolts that holds it together. As far as the sturdiness goes, I'm pretty darn confident that there's, the bike's not going to fall off that stand. You've got to be an absolute fool to make it fall off. When it's up there, that stand's holding 400 and some odd pounds, but it'll roll with ease, and so it'll actually, pivot and pirouette quite nicely. And in my garage, I'm kind of space limited since we're renting right now as we try to figure out where we're supposed to be. But
Well, that's 1 centimeter.
it'll actually let me pivot and rotate the bike instead of having to use the kickstand, which is what I have been doing, without issue. And so pretty darn confident in the build quality of the bike and what it does.
Your accent's throwing me off.
You know, all in all, I think it's pretty good. I think I'm going to develop as we go on, kind of, you know, rules and metrics and stuff like that to truly quantify in a number of what, how good it is. So would I recommend this stand? Absolutely. I think it's a great quality stand. Does it replace some of the paddock stands? Depends on your use. If you're working on bikes and stuff, it might make sense. But if you want something a little bit more portable, then it probably makes sense to get a paddock stand. In my case, I'm going to use this in the shop to help me dial in suspension settings, and so for me, it works out great. Cost-wise, it was definitely comparable, so I'd definitely recommend it. I think it's a good stand, you know, and if you guys need one, I think I got mine on eBay, but I'll put some links in there. So have fun with it.